Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to YouTube. Today, we are going to exhibit how Napoleon, our boar, has finally met his Waterloo. And we're going to try to do this in good taste to keep in compliance with YouTube. But we're going to take you guys through the process. This is not a how-to. This is not an instructional video of how to break down a pig, because I think this is my third one I've ever done in my life, so it's not going to be something you want to use as an instruction guide. But today I got my youngest son Cam with me. So how did you end up being part of this? You were the last man standing, were you?
I don't know. I think everybody just abandoned me.
Yeah. So as usual here on Red Toolhouse, we kind of wait to the last minute to do things. We have all these intentions of getting stuff done when it's appropriate. But here we are almost, well, the last week of February, and we still had a boar that we want to slaughter. And I don't have the opportunity to obviously hang one in a cooler for 3 days. So we're going to do old school and hang him in the barn. Well, looking at the forecast, we were trying to find 3 days where it was going to stay below, in the low 40s and even lower at night. So that window was quickly closing, so we were able to do that. But today, on a Tuesday, it's actually warming up. It's supposed to be, I think, in the mid-60s today. So we're going to try to get Napoleon. You can see him hanging up there behind Cam. We're going to try to get him primaled, and then even some other cuts taken care of, so we can get him in the fridge, get some things in the freezer, and work on some additional processing. So Cam, it just so happened that Tuesday is a day that Kelly's at the rescue mission, Liam's at school, Camlin's homeschooled, and today is my day to work from home, so he really drew the short straw just because he's the last guy standing. So we're going to get set up, and we're going to take it half at a time, and we're going to explain what we did, why we did, and how we're doing it, just so you guys can kind of see what we're doing. And we'll take this all the way to grinding sausage and making some of our links, Bratwurst, and I think we're going to try hot dogs for the first time as well. So come along.
Where do you want it?
I just set it right here beside, on the ground, beside that. All right, so as you can see, we've got Napoleon hanging out here in halves. 2 days ago, we put him down, we skinned him. We decided we weren't going to scald and scrape for 2 reasons. First of all was my scalding barrel has got a hole rusted in it. So when I tried to repair it with my welder, I just made the hole bigger. It's just rotted too far. So we decided, well, okay, that makes that a little easier. And we're not going to cure hams. We're actually going to grind. We want to do a lot of sausage, so we're going to grind the majority of this. We are going to keep the pork belly for making bacon, and we'll probably use the loins, cut some roasts out of the loins. But other than that, we're gonna grind most of it. So kind of another reason not to mess with skinning. We got plenty of lard from our latest process of pig, so even retaining back fat and all that isn't as critical for us. So the first thing we got to do, he's been hanging out here in the barn safely, nothing's been messing with him, and we need to get one side down and start working on him. Okay, so working with Cam here just reminded me, I've been meaning to do a shout out to a couple dudes that have been communicating with me via email, and working with my son reminded me of Dan and Blake, a father and son team, actually here in West Virginia. They watch the channel on a regular basis. So this is a shout out to you, Dan and Blake, and it's my understanding that Dan and Blake they actually make wagers. I don't think I've told you this, Cam. They make wagers sometimes when they watch our videos to see, am I gonna screw something up, or am I gonna do something wrong, or am I gonna do something right? And they kind of make wagers. And it's my understanding that Dan's really far behind, that Blake has won quite a bit. And so
betting on the screw-ups.
Yeah, I don't know who was betting on me doing something right or doing something wrong. So it's probably Blake. If he's ahead, he was probably betting on me doing something wrong, because that's usually what happens around here. So with that being said, Dan and Blake, if you're watching this, here's an opportunity for a wager. We're going to set you up for this. So we got 2 halves hanging on this gambrel here. That's about 9 feet off the ground. And we want to get 1/2 down. So can Cam and I get 1/2 down without the other half tilting so hard that it falls and hits the ground. So make your wager now. We'll wait. And we'll get to work here. So let's see how this goes. One thing it doesn't weigh more than. Why do I feel like I'm in a Roadrunner cartoon and I'm actually the coyote? Alright, so what you're going to do is you got to saw through all that meat right here. You just cut this way to get all the way through that. And when you cut that tendon, it's going to make the leg pivot. So I got to hold all this. Try to at least.
Let's smash my face.
You shouldn't. Just so you don't stick yourself with a knife. Alright, go for it. You got to cut off. A lot of pressure on it.
There.
Why did you come loose? Holy moly! Hope our table can handle it. Use that spray bottle. All right. Well, this, friends, is why you don't let your pig get to 400 plus pounds before you decide to do a home butchering. Everything just gets heavier. So now I know some of you guys are wondering, Napoleon was intact when we processed him. So did we test for taint? The answer is yes. Kelly and Cam actually came down yesterday after we had him hanging.
Okay, so today's day 2, and we are going to let the pig hang for a couple of days. And Troy is at work today, but he asked me to come down and to take a slice of meat, a very small slice of meat from the pig to cook and test to make sure that it doesn't have boar taint. So this was a male pig. This was a boar that was not castrated when he was young, and there's a possibility of that. We think it's highly unlikely, though, because where we purchased our pigs when they were young, he's not had any problem with that issue. So anyway, before we go any further with processing the pig, we want to test for that. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and take this up and put it in a cast iron skillet and just see if there's any funny smell or anything that's off-putting when we cook this.
Cut a little bit off of him, fried him up, made sure he was taint-free. And obviously it's kind of late in the game, but as we mentioned, Napoleon had to go away. So even if he was tainted, we'd have just turned him into dog food or whatever. But he had to go away. We weren't going to sell him because he was a runt. He was a late developer. It's just genetics you just didn't want to have in a new litter. So he had to go away. So regardless whether he was tainted or not, he was going to end up on the hook. All right, well, let's get to work. I'm going to separate the ham first. Like I said, we're going to grind that. So we're going to get some belly out of the way first. Actually, I want that on this side. Thank you much. We're going to lay some of this belly out of the way. I'm going to so there's the H bone. Spine. Again, all I've done to understand this is watch YouTube videos. So we'll see how so there's a ham, and then the shoulder, 4 ribs over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's shoulder separated. All right, inner loin. Any of you guys that are butchers that are watching this, you're probably just throwing stuff at the camera, because again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I obviously cut that ham off a little too far up, because I realized I cut the tail of the inner loin there. So if I'd yeah, here's what it is. All right, so now we're going to separate our ribs from our belly. Salted the table in the process. All right. So there's loin and ribs and belly. Not completely separated yet. So the spare ribs, I've never fully appreciated or understood spare ribs, even though I've had hogs processed for years. But this is the spare rib, because it's what's attached to the belly. So we're going to remove it from the belly, and then this will become all bacon. So from what I understand, we just kind of start up here at the ribs and kind of peel the belly away. And then as we work on that, we want to find the last rib here and kind of score, not going too deep, but score the meat to get away from those ribs. So we can release them. Videos I've found the most helpful in this process is the bearded butchers. I mean, those guys, oh my goodness, they'd cry if they saw me doing this. But all right, so what we decided to do with the loin, of course, is just cut it out. So we got a boneless loin here, and we're going to cut those into roasts, and we'll freeze those, vacuum seal and freeze those. And then really, we can obviously come through for grind and cut all this excess meat off and put it in our grind pile, and we'll just see how that goes. Obviously we still got another half to do, and we're playing beat the clock, or actually we're playing beat the temperature. So fortunately the meat's really cold. I mean, my hands are frozen right now. The meat was not frozen, but it was definitely close. We had sub-freezing temperatures 2 nights that it was hanging. And down here in the barn in the valley, it always stays cooler anyway. But we're gonna keep plugging along. Like I said, this isn't a how-to, so I wasn't gonna show step by step. If I cut a finger off, I'll share that part. If something good looks, something good happens, then we'll make sure we show that part, but I'm just gonna summarize what we're doing. All right, so we got that first half done. What we did is I just boned the hams, basically just cut all the meat off of it. Horrible job. I could refer to myself as a butcher, but it's more like Butcher of Baghdad more than it is, a true meat butcher. Anyway, so cut all that up, off the shoulders as well. The pork belly, we went ahead and wrapped in freezer paper, and we've got it in the freezer. So we got all that butcher paper, got it all wrapped up, because we're going to come back later and do the brine and smoke when we get a smoker. So that's where we are right now. So we're ready to get the second half off of the hook here. And so we're halfway there. We'll do the same thing with this one and cut him up and get him in the fridge and the freezer. There it goes, right in the face. Go on that thing, Kevin. All right, we want to take a quick break in between pig processing before we go inside and actually start doing the grinding and processing. Well, hello, Timber. Do you smell pig on us? But I want to give a shout out to a company that sent us some products for us to try out, and so far we've liked what we've seen, and that's High C. And High C produces outdoor wear, boots, some apparel, winter gear, and waders. But we didn't get any waders because we don't think the mud's going to be that bad yet, right?
Shocking, I know.
But real quick, I'll show you. We have, right now, I'm wearing the men's half calf work boots. And you may have seen that in the footage where Cam and I were cutting up the boar. I had the boots on there, and I also had a pair of men's tactical pants. I don't have them out here because they're covered in blood right now, so, but they worked really well. Teflon coated, all that type of stuff, reinforced. I have this reinforced cross hatching that was kind of cool. So they seem very breathable, but very, very strong material. So I'm anxious to see how that works out. But Kelly, I had to get her some work boots, these half calf as well. And of course hers have the cool little prints on them.
Garden print.
Garden print.
That Troy picked out for me, so.
And I couldn't resist. You'll show them the rain boots?
Sure. So Troy picked out some piggy boots for me, which is very appropriate.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try those out as well. I have not worn these. Obviously, maybe you can still see the tags blowing in the wind, but I'm excited to try both of these because I definitely needed a new pair of boots. And then one other thing that they sent us was this coat, and it has been really nice. So the coat that I've been wearing on the farm in the winter is over 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it's been really good, but we realized that I have pictures of me pregnant with our first son.
Who's 20 now.
Who is 20 now, so it literally was 20 years old. So it was good to get a new coat for farm purposes.
Yeah, you actually saw Kelly wearing the coat a couple videos ago when we were doing some tractor stuff when it was actually cold. Now it's 70 some degrees, so
which we're loving.
Exactly.
So nice.
But real quick, there's an offer code if you want to check out the links below. There's an offer code. You can use RTH2022, take 15% off of their products. And they also have a lifetime warranty. It's one of those things you register for, you join this group, a lifetime warranty on all their products site-wide. So we'll put some information below about that as well. Check them out. And when it comes to these type of boots, that's the one thing I was most focused on. When you wear these type of muck style boots is what I'd call them. I'm anxious to see if I can get a year out of these like I do my muck boots or bogs boots, then this will be a great value because these are much less expensive than those. And I only get a year out of those before they crack and bust around the toe. So we'll see how these hold up over the year. And hopefully we'll get good life out of them. But check out their website if you want to know more about it. Again, we'll post some information down in the video description. All right, let's get back to cutting up some pigs. Hey, got no choice. All right, so we are inside now. And first thing we're going to do, since we've got some wider vacuum bags, is we're going to get our roasts and our leaf lard all sealed up properly. But now that the boss is here, she's going to inspect our roasts to make sure we trimmed them up the way that she wanted to, maybe do a little additional trimming before we get them in our vacuum sealer. And then you can see all this wonderful fun stuff we have here. So we've got our new LEM grinder, we've got a meat mixer, and we've got a sausage stuffer. So we're going to try all that out. I've had the grinder and the stuffer for a year and haven't even tried it yet. Meat mixer just got, the vacuum sealer we've had for a while. So we're going to give that a go. I'm not sponsored by LEM, but we'll see how this goes because stuff is a little pricey. It'll be the very expensive sausage links, won't it? It better be really good. All right. Shut down for me, would you? All right, so it's evening day 2. Kelly and I stayed up after 10 o'clock last night, cutting up we got about half of all the meat cut up, and the lug. It's over here beside the grinder, so that's what we worked on last night. What we just finished, we put back in the freezer to obviously cool and stiffen up a bit. That makes it much easier to go through the grinder. So we're going to use our Big Bite LEM grinder here to tear into that stuff, and then we've got our mixer and stuffer that we'll incorporate as well. So we'll detail that as we go along. I think you guys are taking a dinner break, right?
Yes, dinner break before we move on.
So that made pretty quick work of that entire lug worth of meat. You can see we've ground it all, so that's first grind, the coarse grind. We're going to clean the head, put the lug in the freezer for about 10-15 minutes while we clean, swap the head out, and then bring it back out for the second grind, and then we'll start stuffing. But that was what, probably less than 5 minutes?
That was, yeah.
I mean, it was less time it took Kelly to eat her cheeseburger, and she usually eats a cheeseburger in just a couple minutes.
Really nice.
I'm going to pay for that one. All right, so I'm again not sponsored by LEM, but I'm really impressed with this. I assume it's LEM instead of Lem. I can't call it Lem because my son's Liam, and that just sounds like some redneck trying to say my son's name. So we're going with LEM. So. Really happy with how this thing has worked so far. It's really quiet, and I mean it was grinding faster than I could stuff it in there. So, all right, time for grind number 2, and then we'll be ready to stuff. All right, so it's night number 3 of processing. Did you ever think you were taking the whole week off to join a butcher shop, Kelly?
I didn't, and this is taking much longer than I thought.
So yeah, so this has been a real grind.
Such a card.
So last night, what slowed us down is the fact that our collagen casings I got from LEM did not fit my stuffer tubes. That was my mistake. There were 3 tubes that came with the grinder, and there were 3 tubes that came with the stuffer. I assumed they were interchangeable, but they were not. So the only tube that I had that would fit our collagen casings was on the grinder. So that slowed things down a bit because it's just not nearly as efficient as we think. Obviously, we're going to try the grinder tonight. So now I was able to go by Cabela's and got some natural casings. So I've prepped those. Those have soaked, rinsed them out, all that type of stuff. So we're going to give that a shot. This will be a nice test for us to try out collagen versus regular casings and see how that works out. So now we've got some of our meat that we ground last night that we've kept in cold storage. Kelly's going to start weighing it out in 5-pound increments and put the mix with it, put it in our mixer, and then put it in our stuffer. And the reason why we're doing 5 pounds at a time, of course, is that's what the stuffer can handle. So we want to we don't want to have opportunity for the mix to set up. So let's see how we can do. You don't like those casings?
Oh my word.
It's like I had a bad head cold.
Stop it.
That's why you're working on that side. I'll work on this side.
I'm glad I don't have to mix this by hand. And I do a little bit forward and then I go backwards.
You want to try to get out as much air as possible, so you want to
Push it down.
cram it.
I'll cram it.
Did you say cram it?
That meat is almost frozen.
That's good.
It's cold.
Okay, it's taken us a couple, trip over my flip-flops here. It's taken us a couple to figure out what we're doing and to say what we're doing. We know what we're doing. It's kind of funny. But, so Kelly is, again, measuring out, we're mixing, and really the big trick here is making sure the casing is still a little bit wet, so when it slides up on the tube, the stuffing tube, it slides easily. And it seemed like that first one was really tough. And I thought, man, this is going to be insane. But just realized it needed a little bit more water lubrication there. Then it slid on real easy. That's the thing going to Cabela's. They don't talk about any size of the casing. I guess since it's hog casing, I read the fine print, it's hog casing, then it's going to be a bigger diameter. I probably wanted sheep casing for breakfast sausage. So these will be the biggest breakfast links in the world. So,
Well, I'll have to share one.
that's right. So anyway, yeah, you learn. We'll just have grande breakfast links. It'll just take half a day to cook them, I
It'll be
guess.
something that not everybody offers, right?
That's right. So, come to Red Tool House Bed and Breakfast, and you get clubbed with sausage links.
The biggest breakfast sausage links in the world. Oh, the big breakfast.
So we're almost done with this lug, which is half of the hog. So then we'll have to switch back to a coarse grind and grind our other half of the hog that's out in the fridge freezer.
Okay, you know what?
I just set it in front of the grinder for now.
You said you want the second one?
Huh?
I said you want the second one?
Yeah, go ahead and bring all whatever's in that fridge. He's probably studying for his biology test.
This is biology.
Hmm?
This is biology.
But it doesn't help him for his test.
What?
So he was probably studying for his biology test.
Sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Oh, well, I thought you come remember.
It does have a very unique sound to it.
Now what's that gonna be?
This is unfortunately breakfast sausage.
What do you think of that, Ken?
The biggest darn breakfast links in the world, man.
Okay, so Camo, should we have him?
Start the
Is
grind.
it's all ready?
Yeah, it's on grind number. Yeah, it's on the #1 plate.
Okay.
All right, so we've done all of our breakfast sausage. Now we're moving over to some bratwurst, doing some beer brats. So Kelly's got a recipe there that she's putting together. We're going to still continue using our natural casings, since those are actually bratwurst size. Camo's doing second grind here, and we're going to do 10-pound batches. and get it started. So while Cameron's grinding, Kelly's mixing, and I'm stuffing, we should be able to have a decent little production line going here.
Got some what?
Some smell. You should put your little nose right here.
My little nose? What about my big nose?
All right, here we go.
Woo! That's stanky.
My breakfast.
All right, moment of truth.
It's pretty good.
Just pretty good.
That bite had a bit more flavor. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
What do you think of the casing?
Am I eating natural casing?
No. No, you're eating collagen. But the one I tried, it had just a little extra snap to it, which I'm not a big fan of. So I figure the natural casing will be less snappy.
I haven't noticed extra snap to it. That's why I was wondering, is it natural? No, it's really good.
Good. Got a little more heat to it than I recall. Maybe just the one I had. Maybe we didn't mix as well, but.
I was gonna say I didn't notice any heat in this one, so
Yeah.
maybe the mixer was not so great at her job.
Yeah. All right, so that wraps up processing, and I got to say that was, how many days do we work? 5? No,
Well, 4 days processing.
yeah, we slaughtered on Sunday. Cam and I started cutting up to primals on Tuesday, and then Tuesday night we started processing. Thursday nights, yeah, all the way
Wednesday,
to
Thursday, Friday. Yeah.
yeah. So Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
been
What
a
comes
long
after
day.
Tuesday? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. So 5 full days of work on that pig, and now I know why the old timers only did that once a year. Are you
Yes.
ready to do another one?
No, I don't want to ever do one again.
Trying to talk her into doing Merida. She's twice the size
No.
of that one. So.
Merida can live a long, happy life on this farm.
But I owe it to her. If she has to go down, I have to do it. She's been here so
This
long.
is true. Yeah.
So here's our results, what we've got, and I have it here in my notes. So obviously we ended up with 2 huge pork bellies. We just froze those whole. We haven't done anything with them yet, but the plan will be to cure those and then get them in the smoker. We just have to get a smoker. 40 pounds of bratwurst, and it's a big old honking bratwurst, and that was in collagen and natural casing. Approximately 33 pounds of sausage links, and some of those are the regular breakfast sausage links. Some of those
Some of those are the extra
big
large
jumbo
breakfast.
bratwurst. Yeah, it's like bratwurst stuffing sausage, breakfast sausage. So if you'd like to have some eggs with your sausage, then that would be good for breakfast. Just 4 pounds of ground pork, because we just had some leftover cuts that we ground up and put in ground pork. We had 7 approximately 5 pound boneless roasts. Most of that was loin roast with 1 shoulder. That would be a Boston butt shoulder that was boneless. And that's about it. So all of that work, and that's what we got out of it. But we'll be eating high on the hog for a while. That's right. I had one more shout out I needed to do, and that was to Sheila. And Sheila knows who she is. Sheila knows Sheila, right?
Yeah. I
So,
would assume so.
During COVID, Sheila sent us a gift, and Sheila, we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. In fact, she didn't even want to be recognized when I mentioned it to her.
in her graciousness, she sent some gifts to some other channels, and she asked me, hey, would you give a shout out to This Off-Grid Life? And so yeah, Sheila, I will do that. Shout out to This Off-Grid Life. We've actually watched them.
Yes.
They're a young couple up in Canada trying to build totally off-grid. Having some good success. They've made some really good progress. I know this winter's been a little rough on them with all the snow, but that's Canada, right? But check them out. If you want to see somebody building from scratch off-grid, it'd be worth going back and kind of starting at the beginning to kind of get the game plan. But we appreciate Sheila, again, supporting us and doing what she did there. And we appreciate all you guys watching. Thank you so much. We love the comments. We read everyone. Even if we don't get a chance to respond to everyone, we do read everyone and get a chuckle out of most of them. So we appreciate everybody. Y'all take care.